Okay, we are now live in both places. We're live on Facebook and we're live on the Zoom webinar, and we have the recording happening. So welcome, I'm Steve Wells, and I'm here with the wonderful Brad Yates.
Hello.
And, we're going to talk to you today and give you some tools for tapping into yes, which is, as you know, when you set out to achieve something, when you set yourself a goal, even though you really want that goal, there can be part of you that's holding you back for whatever reason. And Brad and I have both been working on this kind of thing for a number of years. And for the first time, we've decided to come together here and run this webinar and also to do some workshops and events in Australia and in the US. So really looking forward to that. And I know
we figured it's about time we combined forces to help folks clear that resistance. Yeah, as Steve said, we know that we want something consciously, but I would say the extent to which we're not experiencing what we say we want is the extent to which we're resisting it. Part of us is saying no. And so that's what we're here to do is help you clear that stuff out so that we get to, as Steve's book says, 100% yes.
Yeah. Now, before we go any further, I have to say something about the bushfires that are currently raging in parts of Australia. I know that many people are doing it tough, and you may be in that situation yourself. If so, my heart goes out to you and your families. And please, if you're in an area that's likely to be susceptible to fire, do what the authorities say. Look after yourself, stay safe. And the first thing I suggest, as I suggested to a lady who contacted me from one of the fire zones, was start tapping. And, you know, I'm going to show you some stuff today in terms of, you know, the new intention tapping that I use, which I shared with this lady. And she was able to use that to get herself clear. Then she was able to develop a plan, and then she was able to be clear on what to do and follow her plan. And she was actually able to stay safe. There's also an opportunity for everyone else who wants to contribute. I've put links in the Facebook group that we have here, and we'll send those out after the webinar to the people on our lists. Please contribute. The Australian Red Cross, I know the Salvation Army has a bushfire appeal. The state bushfire services have appeals. There are some that are going around Facebook. There's nothing beats doing something tangible. But the first things first is really to put your own oxygen mask on and to do your own tapping on yourself to get yourself clear. And then you can actually help other people. And then you can, you know, follow the right kind of plan and do stuff that works. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So we were going to start with a general round of tapping, and I think none better than the intergalactic megastar Brad Yates, who, as all of you know, is a YouTube sensation. He has, you know, his videos have millions of views for good reason, because he's been putting out stuff for years to help people. And by the way, just mentioning in regard to the disasters, there is a video of Brad's that I saw the other day that you can tap along to. You can find that online. We'll also put that up in the group for those of you who are in the
I'll put those in this group as well.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Okay, so let's do some tapping.
All right. So what I'd like everyone to do is go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Now, just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Go ahead and feel your feet on the floor, or your butt in the chair, whatever part of you is connected to something. Allow yourself to feel that connection. Allow yourself to feel centered and grounded. Allowing yourself to be right here, right now, as present as possible so as to receive maximum benefit from this presentation tonight. And as you do so, allow yourself to just follow your breath through your body. Allow yourself to get a sense of how you're doing right now. Noticing what you're feeling physically and what you're feeling emotionally. Now I want you to think about something that you want to create in your life. This could be a personal goal, a professional goal, physical or financial goal, something that you want to make happen, and you may not be doing everything you possibly could. Part of you is saying yes to it, but another part of you is saying no to it, and that's why it's not showing up. So go ahead and imagine yourself having this thing that you'd like to have, having achieved this goal, and just allow yourself to be aware of what you're feeling. Again, check in with what you're feeling physically and what you're feeling emotionally. Notice where there might be some tension, some discomfort. Notice what that resistance might be. And do so without judgment as much as possible. You're not bad or stupid for having resistance. It's just old programming telling you that it's not entirely safe to say yes to this. So allowing yourself to, with a certain amount of self-compassion, just take a look at what's going on in there, where you might be saying no. Notice what thoughts, beliefs, and memories might be coming up as to why you might be saying no. Just allowing yourself to be aware of what feels important, or even just what feels relevant. Take another deep breath. Open your eyes. And as always, taking full responsibility for your own well-being if you choose this tonight. Just follow along. And Steve, if you'll be my echo voice, actually.
Okay.
Thank you. I know you'd muted yourself. All right. Even though not all of me is saying yes to this,
Even though not all of me is saying yes to this,
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
Even though part of me is saying no,
Even though part of me is saying no,
I choose to love and honor myself anyway.
I choose to love and honor myself anyway.
Even though part of me is saying no,
Even though part of me is saying no,
and I hate to admit that,
and I hate to admit that,
part of me might be denying that.
part of me might be denying that.
But if what I want isn't showing up,
But if what I want isn't showing up,
I choose to be open to the possibility
I choose to be open to the possibility
that it's because there's some resistance going on in there.
that it's because there's some resistance going on in there.
And even though I might have some resistance,
And even though I might have some resistance,
I choose to deeply and completely
I choose to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself,
love, honor, and accept myself,
and maybe anyone else
and maybe anyone else
who might contribute to this resistance.
who might contribute to this resistance.
All this resistance to what I want.
All this resistance to what I want.
All these parts of me that are saying no.
All these parts of me that are saying no.
I really want to say yes.
I really want to say yes.
Part of me insists that I am saying yes.
Part of me insists that I am saying yes.
Of course I want to achieve this goal.
Of course I want to achieve this goal.
Of course I want to have these circumstances.
Of course I want to have these circumstances.
I don't know why they're not happening.
I don't know why they're not happening.
The universe is saying no to me.
The universe is saying no to me.
I'm doing everything I possibly can.
I'm doing everything I possibly can.
And is that really the case?
And is that really the case?
And if not,
And if not,
I choose to love and appreciate myself
I choose to love and appreciate myself
for all the ways I'm just trying to take care of myself,
for all the ways I'm just trying to take care of myself.
with all these goals that I want to say yes to.
With all these goals that I want to say yes to,
Part of me is sabotaging myself,
part of me is sabotaging myself.
not because I'm bad or stupid,
Not because I'm bad or stupid,
but because self-sabotage is misguided self-love.
because self-sabotage is misguided self-love.
I only sabotage myself because I care.
I only sabotage myself because I care.
I wish I didn't care so much sometimes.
I wish I didn't care so much sometimes.
Maybe I wouldn't sabotage myself so much.
Maybe I wouldn't sabotage myself so much.
And the fact is,
And the fact is,
I'm doing the best I can.
I'm doing the best I can.
I've been doing the best I could,
I've been doing the best I could.
but I have some old programming,
But I have some old programming,
some old beliefs
some old beliefs
about why what I want
about why what I want
isn't entirely safe for me.
isn't entirely safe for me.
Some part of me says
Some part of me says
there would be pain involved.
there would be pain involved.
There would be discomfort.
There would be discomfort.
We can't say yes to this.
We can't say yes to this.
I have to say no to this.
I have to say no to this.
And I love and appreciate those parts of me
I love and appreciate those parts of me
that have been doing the best they could
that have been doing the best they could
based on all this old programming.
based on all this old programming.
Quick question from someone.
Oh, Christine's saying she can't see
Yeah.
Steve on the monitor.
Yeah.
That's because I turned my video off while Brad was presenting.
Oh, but yeah, but while and sorry, because I had you take yourself off mute, then it still shows. Your name shows up, but so if your name shows up, so maybe
I see what's happening actually.
Yeah.
For them, when my voice, okay, so I need to turn myself on. Okay, turn myself on, and when it comes up on the screen, it comes up with just my name.
With your name, right?
Yeah,
and they
because
can't see
it's
the
showing speaker view, right? Yeah. Sorry, everybody. Well, we learn these things sometimes.
Maybe the reason I say no.
Maybe the reason I say no
is because I'm afraid I'll screw up.
Is because I'm afraid I'll screw up.
And I'll make a fool of myself.
I'll make a fool of myself.
I'm not going to say 100. I'm not going to say yes.
I'm not going to say yes.
Until I know I can do it perfectly.
Until I know I can do it perfectly.
And since nothing's perfect.
And since nothing is perfect.
It's no wonder I say no so often.
It's no wonder I say no so often.
And I love and appreciate those parts of me.
And I love and appreciate those parts of me.
That are just trying to protect me from making a fool of myself.
That are just trying to protect me from making a fool of myself.
Trying to protect me from getting in trouble.
Trying to protect me from getting in trouble.
And the fact is?
The fact is?
I can handle it.
I can handle it.
I can handle making a fool of myself sometimes.
I can handle Am I allowed to object to some of these things?
Cleared all this fear.
Cleared all this fear.
All this resistance.
All this resistance.
All this old resistance.
All this old resistance.
All this old programming.
All this old programming.
That has convinced me to say no.
That's convinced me to say no.
All this old programming.
All this old programming.
That stops me from saying yes.
Stops me from saying yes.
I'm allowing myself to work through these fears.
I'm allowing myself to work through these fears.
Clearing the excess emotion.
Clearing the excess emotion.
So that I can see things more clearly.
So I can see things more clearly.
And if any of my objections are rational.
And if any of my objections are rational.
And saying yes to what I want.
And saying yes to what I want.
Poses too much of a real threat.
Poses too much of a real threat.
Then I can be clear on that.
Then I can be clear on that.
And I can find a way to deal with that.
And I can find a way to deal with that.
I'm clearing the stuff that isn't a real threat.
Clearing the stuff that isn't a real threat.
Releasing it all the way back through my past.
Releasing it all the way back to my past.
Back through my childhood.
Back to my childhood.
Back through all these times in my life.
Back through all these times in my life.
Where I learned to say no to what I want.
Where I learned to say no to what I want.
Thinking that that was protecting me.
Thinking that that was protecting me.
And now I'm changing my mind.
Now I'm changing my mind.
And I'm setting myself free to say yes.
And I'm setting myself free to say yes.
In body, mind, and spirit.
In body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. Close your eyes and think again about whatever it is that you want to say yes to. And just notice again where there might be resistance, and hopefully that number has come way down. Hopefully if you had discomfort, that's dissipated or completely disappeared. And as we always say, you know, with tapping, it's like peeling the layers of the onion. So you may have greater clarity now about what other things might be coming up as to why you might be saying no.
Yeah. As we're doing that, and as anyone who knows me knows that I don't do this, you know, the way that Brad does this, but he's a friend, so I'm going along, you know. And I was clearing my resistance because I haven't done kind of traditional tapping in this way for a long, long time. But there are a lot of things that came up for me when we did that tapping. First of all, there was like, hang on, I don't do it this way, you know, anymore. I've been doing it differently for a number of years. But when you go along with the process, man, there's a lot of stuff that kind of starts moving around always, you know. And you know, just the benefits of tapping itself. You know, we teach people just to start tapping. And I know, you know, often in EFT land, people are, you know, tapping in certain rounds and so on. And once they're finished, like right now, a lot of people have stopped tapping. Whereas what we say to people, and when I say we, you know, it's myself and David Lake, who I spent, you know, better part of 20 years traveling around teaching tapping around the world with. And, you know, we learned that, you know, this continual tapping, keep on doing the tapping, even when you're not focusing in on issues, even when, you know, you're not doing specific direct work with tapping, it can really be beneficial. So just
and on that note, everyone who's watching right now, feel free to keep tapping. And I often do this with private clients and in teleclasses and even in live events. I'll say to folks, just because we're not doing a formal round, go ahead and make use of this time because it's so beneficial. I've sometimes said that it may just be the tapping that gives the benefit, and my job is to keep it entertaining enough to keep people tapping long enough to clear out whatever's going on.
Oh yeah. Well, well, anyone who knows us knows that we discovered that if we get people just tapping without doing anything else, without trying to be clever, without trying to focus in on issues, you know, today we are going to, of course, bring up some issues to do with resistance, just like you have. And as Brad brought those up, no doubt there were some of those that resonated for you, and that gives you some stuff to focus on. But we found if you tap every day, and you know, if you just tap without having to be clever, without having to be a psychologist, sometimes quantity is even better than quality. You know, trying to find all the core issues and trying to get everything right is what stops people from using the process.
Yeah, you don't have to get it right. You just got to get it started.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. I actually. I think we might change it up a little bit and get someone on and do some specific tapping, if that's okay. And I do have a volunteer for that, and that's Christine, and she is here. So Christine, I'm going to promote you to panelist. I hope you're ready to go. And what you'll see when we do this is how I do tapping a little bit different to the way Brad has been doing it. And of course, in this case, we are specifically focusing in with a coaching client on some specific issues. So I don't know what they are. I just called for who wants to volunteer, and Christine said, "Yep, I want to do it." So she's going to join us. And whatever you want to bring, Christine. Obviously, of course, it's about whatever you're holding back on, what's stopping you from doing what you want, being what you want, you know, achieving what you want, having what you want in your life. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to see you shortly. Now, I can't see you at the moment. You'll have to speak up probably for me to be able to see you.
I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you, but I can't see you. There's something about my screen that's not letting me see you, Christine. So, but you are there, right?
I am, and I can see both of you.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I think it was just, it needs, because it's on speaker view, when you speak, then you become visible. All right. Okay. So.
It works that way.
All right. So we're going to do a bit of tapping on whatever you wanted to tap on today that's stopping you from doing what you want, having what you want, being the kind of person that you want in your life, you know. And the first thing I'll say is just start tapping. Okay.
Great.
So let's get the tapping happening. And for those of you who are new to this approach, we're just tapping on the points, and we're going to do that even while we're discussing things and so on. And I'm going to use a combination of what we call simple energy techniques and this new intention tapping technique that I have discovered. Okay. All right, so we're tapping. Now, what's the problem? What do you want to focus on?
Well, up until right before Christmas, 1st of December, last year I was totally gung-ho with my business, and making videos and posting and doing all kinds of things. And I just, I kind of lost my mojo.
Yeah. The minute you started to say, last year I was doing this, your energy just drained out of your body. I could just see it. Yeah? Okay. Because
Yeah.
now you're looking back instead of
Yeah.
looking forward, right?
Exactly. And now I just feel like I don't know what I want to do. And when I think about my business, I don't even have any interest in it. So I would really like to get some spark of something back.
Yeah. Okay.
That I
Now, do you know anything about the simple energy techniques that I tend to use?
I've done some of these.
So you know that there's also points on the thumb, side of the thumb, side of the fingers, and you can tap on those points as well as the upper body points that are used in traditional EFT and so on, yeah?
Yeah, I might just do the fingers actually.
Okay, so as long as you're tapping, I don't mind. For those who are familiar with only EFT, they tend to only use the upper body points these days. And a lot of people have completely forgotten that in the original EFT, there were points on the side of the thumb, side of the fingers, obviously the side of the hand where, where people do the tapping on that side of the hand for setups and so on in EFT. We don't use setup statements. We don't use reminder phrases. We just focus on whatever we're aware of. Okay. And I also am going to incorporate these new statements from intention tapping that are so powerful. So the great thing about this is we can start global instead of having to be specific.
Right.
So it's all about your business, right?
Yeah, and money, of course, money coming in. Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about what it really means.
Yeah.
So because you're attached, I would say at the moment that you're suffering because you've emotionally attached to a negative meaning. Okay. Now, we don't have to know what that is. We just need to start the process.
Yeah.
So just start tapping and just say, I release all my emotional attachments to my business.
I release all of my emotional attachments to my business. Yeah.
All right.
There are a lot.
Now let's just see what happens with that. Okay. So you would recognize the statement, of releasing emotional attachments is a big part of intention tapping because it's the emotional attachments that's causing the suffering. And then there's also a disturbance in body energy flow that comes from that.
Yeah.
Just keep tapping and notice what comes up.
Well, I think the next thing is I'm a failure.
Okay, so beautiful. So see how we apply the process to the big global thing, and then underneath that is the real thing that's triggering. So just say, I release all my emotional attachments.
I release all my emotional attachments
to the belief
that
this means I'm a failure.
That this means I'm a failure.
And then just keep tapping and let it do whatever it does, and just notice what happens. And then let us know what comes next. Sometimes it might be another belief, it might be a feeling, it might be another thought, it might be an image. Just notice what comes.
I think what I'm noticing is a feeling kind of both in my face and in my chest. The chest seems like the most painful bit. The face is kind of embarrassment of saying that on this call.
And this is because we can have sometimes two different things at the same time. And, so sometimes when it's like, what am I feeling? Well, I'm feeling embarrassed, and I'm feeling sad, and I'm feeling hurt, and I'm feeling frustrated. And, it's like a big mixture.
Yeah.
All right. So just say, I restore the right energy flow to my face
I restore the right energy flow to my face
and my chest
and my chest
and my breath.
and my breath.
And just keep tapping. So obviously everybody can't see that you're tapping, you know, there's
Yeah,
just
I'm doing the fingers.
seeing you nod. This is yes, this is no, yes.
Exactly.
But, you know, part of you is saying no to moving forward right now.
Totally. Yeah.
And one of the reasons why that's happening is because whatever's been triggered that you're attached to is causing such a strong disturbance in, you know, causing you to not be able to breathe and think clearly and so on.
Yeah.
What's happening in your face and your chest?
I feel a lot more, my face is relaxed.
Yeah, looks a lot
My
more
chest,
relaxed.
there's a little achiness in my chest, I'm noticing.
Okay. And where is that achiness?
It's kind of in the center.
So just put your hand in the center
Okay.
of your chest and tap with the other hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just say, I restore the right energy balance to my chest.
I restore the right energy balance to my chest.
And then don't try and make it do anything. Just do it. Just keep tapping and notice what happens. Just notice what it does. Notice where it goes. Notice how it feels. Notice what you think.
Woo, yeah, that's interesting. What came up or what I was aware of is a lot of, I've just had a lot of grief kinds of losses going on around me. Deaths, illnesses, aging parents, and then the
Yeah.
world. I mean, Australia came in, it was like all in my chest. It was like, I don't want to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
anything to do with anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were gung-ho in your business and you were moving forward and you were doing all these things, and then blam, life happened.
exactly. And I do healing work. So I could just see it's like, no, I want to go like work with little kids in the preschool right now. I don't want to do any healing
Yeah.
work.
Get away from all this stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yet, of course, and that's really the situation that everybody wants to run away from the thing rather than to go through, of course.
Yeah.
So just say, I release all my emotional attachments
I release all my emotional attachments
to all the loss.
to all the loss.
And just let it do whatever it does and go wherever it goes. And then your unconscious will give you the next part. You don't have to make it up. You don't have to make anything get better. This is all your job is only to tap and notice what comes next.
The image of a beach vacation came up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Darn right. Now, and that feels a little more solid than, and the other thing was fearful running away, but
Yeah.
this is like feels a little more solid and real to me.
Yeah.
And you know what? If this comes all the time to stop people in business, because part of you knows that if you just put everything into your business, you won't do anything for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Not very good at that.
Ah, okay. And yet that's part of you. And if that part of you, misses out for too long, it's gonna,
Yep.
hmm.
Yeah.
And this is a problem when we have different parts and different values, is that sometimes it's like push-pull. Part of us is pulling one way, part of us is pulling the other way. One part is saying yes, and another part of us is saying no.
Yeah.
Because that part is fearing that it's never going to get any fun.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I know that one.
So
Very
just
well.
say, I release all my emotional attachments
I release all my emotional attachments
to if I go forward in my business,
to if I go forward in my business,
I won't have any fun.
I won't have any fun. Boy, does that feel true.
Yeah, I was just going to check if that feels really true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and if it is true, why would you want to do it? Since part of you wants fun and part of you needs fun, why would
Yeah.
you ever create a version of success which doesn't have fun in it?
Yeah.
Your vision is
Yeah.
more like a nightmare.
Kind of the hair shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So just say, I release all my emotional attachments
I release all my emotional attachments
to my hair shirt version of business.
to my hair shirt version of business. Oh, yeah.
All right. So, and of course, we can't go all day on this, but
Yeah.
just keep tapping and let me know what you're feeling and what you're thinking, right now.
Yeah, it just strikes me as I'm tapping that this is going to sound weird as, okay, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it sounds weird as a healer. My business has been geared towards them
Yes,
instead of me.
that's right. And even the most compassionate person can end up with compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
See, and there's a lot of people in this industry who are like that. A lot of tapping practitioners who are not really, getting all of what they part of them is getting what it needs because they need to help. It's part of who you are,
Yeah. Yeah.
spreading the love.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So just as strange as this may seem, and, we'll just do this aspect and then we'll just see where it goes. And then, of course, you'll have to go off and do your, finish your tapping. But it's just kind of opening up a doorway here to see new possibilities.
Yeah.
And just say, I release all my emotional attachments.
I release all my emotional attachments.
So it's all about them.
To it's all about them.
And not about me.
And not about me.
And as you tap in this way, of course, who knows what might come up? Memories.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anger.
Yeah, of course. And now you have anger, but as a compassionate person, you're not allowed to be angry.
Yeah.
So just say, I restore the right energy flow to this anger.
I restore the right energy flow to this anger.
And I release my emotional attachments to anger.
I release my emotional attachments to anger. Huh, that's so great, because what came right away was, it's just there telling me, okay, we need to rearrange this or design this differently.
Darn right. So
Yeah.
now that you've kind of opened up to consider that there's more parts of you than just the one that wants to save the world,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
if these parts actually work together, who knows,
Yeah.
could happen.
Yeah.
Then you can create a vision which is yes, yes, instead of yes, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I've thought a lot about this, but I'm feeling it in my body.
Yeah.
Very different.
That's right. You can't try and force those thoughts in when the feelings are in the way. That's why you got to do your tapping first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you do your vision for your business, you actually, believe it or not, it's really helpful to find all the no's, find all the resistance, and do the releasing attachments and restore the energy flow, whatever process works for you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, we have to pause here. So thank you very much for joining us.
That was
And,
great. I felt very different, very much lighter.
Yeah. All right. So far, so good, said the man falling from the 20th floor as he went past the 10th floor. So I'm going to put you back to attendee. Thank you very much, Christine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. So now Brad's back. Where are you, Brad?
There I am. I should be there. Yeah, I'm just following along with what's going on in the chat rooms.
Mm. Yeah, it's a little hard with all these things going on. I'm not used to having. See, I'm gonna have to do some releasing of my own inner no to coping with having more than one screen open at one time. You know.
Yeah. When I do these live things, it's a challenge just following one stream of comments.
Yeah.
But when there's two going on at the same time.
So I'm going to apologize for everyone for not keeping up with all of the stuff that's happening in the chat. But hey, you know,
no, that's
the thing. Was saying also just there about Christine. Her face is so much brighter. Thank you so much for letting us watch Christine. So yeah, really appreciation, and a lot of people in Facebook groups saying thank you to Christine for doing that. You know. That's the thing, is that we think, you know, that when we put our stuff out there that everyone's going to laugh at us or whatever, and it turns out to be the same stuff that everybody else has, and it helps them and it helps us at the same time. So yeah,
absolutely. In fact, everyone, go ahead and close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. And allow yourself to be aware of what's going on inside right now. After having gone through that process with Steve and Christine, just notice what might be coming up for you. You know, there's a thing in EFT called borrowing benefits, where we get benefit from tapping with someone else, even if it's not exactly our issue. And allow yourself to be aware of those things that might be coming up for you. Having watched that, because it may be opening up all kinds of things. You may be going, oh yes, and there have been a lot of comments from people saying, yes, that's exactly what it is for me. And so allowing yourself to, you know, in fact, continue tapping even with your eyes closed, clearing out that stuff that is coming up around whatever might have brought up. And you can take a deep breath and open your eyes again. So just checking in here. Cool. With your permission, I'm going to do another quick round here, just to follow on to that.
You don't need my permission. You can just do it.
And some folks were asking about gallery view. I don't know if, because we have the panelist thing, if it will show all of the pictures, because that's usually what happens with Zoom, is if you do gallery view, it shows all the pictures.
Because we're on Zoom webinar rather than Zoom group, and I'm most familiar with Zoom group, where everybody sees everybody, but this way only the people who become panelists can be seen, like us. And yeah. Anyway, maybe we'll do a Zoom group one time. Let's see.
Yeah, I just want to see. So if we do it like this, then, because some people were asked about that, I had responded saying, well, but we'll have too many pictures, but because I didn't know I haven't done it like this with the webinar. So folks, let us know if this works better for you at the moment.
I think you're changing it, but mine, it won't change.
Oh, because you're the host, so I'm just changing. That's fine. I feel so powerless.
Anyway, let's just go with what we've got. You know,
that's fine.
We just move ahead with what we've got and do the best with what we have, where we are. Yeah. And I'm sure that you know, people afterwards will give us a lot of feedback about, you know, how we can improve things, and that's really good. And then we'll do some tapping on that and release our emotional attachments to that, and then we'll move forward.
And we'll just say, come and see us live, and then you won't have the whole videos back and forth kind of thing. There will be few, if any, technical issues in the live event.
Well, that was the basis of us getting together. You know, Brad and I have connected in various ways over the years. You know, we've done a couple of things together, like YouTube and so on. And the idea was, you know, we have a lot of fun when we get together. So let's get together with a group of people and share our very different approaches. As you can see, you know, we've got very different approaches, and I think that's a real strength. You know, I know when I worked with Dave Lake for so many years, he was much more gentle and caring, and I was much more, you know,
beating people up left and right, you know. And no, it is great because there are certain, you know, there are many different ways of doing this tapping work, and to me, healing work is like music. There are a lot of different genres, there are a lot of different instruments, and there are people who play instruments differently. You know, it would be insane for Eric Clapton to say to Keith Richards, you play the guitar all wrong. You know? And there are different things that it brings up, and I think it's a great interplay to switch back and forth and use these different processes to move through that stuff, because sometimes just changing it up really helps to shift something.
I think part of the thing is that people get into a kind of either or thinking, you know, like mine is the best and yours is not, and whatever. And I've always said the best energy technique is the one you use, you know.
Right.
Put aside your judgment and just do it, you know.
Right. There's no one right way for everybody.
Yeah.
So this, you know, allowing these different styles allows you to be open to different things. It's, you know, it was like when my kids started listening to music, and music other than what my wife and I listened to, and we started to be introduced to a whole new genre of music. Like, oh, hey, that's great. And it's not like I then abandoned classic rock or classical music, but it expanded that repertoire. And so doing it this way, by being open to that, there's so many more things that can happen, so much more shift that can occur.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing about you know, that we're focusing on is the idea of tapping into yes, and actually a lot of that is releasing, you know, your attachments to the no, you know, to what's saying no. And usually it's, you know, it's kind of some emotional attachment that comes from some programming from the past that says, you know, you got to do it this way, or you're not a good person, you're not acceptable unless you do this, or whatever. And so if we're going to be free and we're going to move forward to have the kind of life that we want, we've got to actually release our attachments to previous yeses, which were yes then, but they're no in our current life. So, you know, we did things to adapt. We did things that worked for us in that environment. Like in my family of origin, if you wanted to get along, you had to speak loud, you know, because if we're going to have a discussion, you might as well have a damn good argument. And the one who wins the argument is the one who speaks the loudest for the longest, you know, and usually with shouting involved. And when I met the lady who became my wife, Louise, and you know, we were having a discussion one day. She said, "Stop yelling at me." I said, "Yelling? This is not yelling. Do you want to hear me yell?" You know. So I actually had to release my attachments to what was functional in the environment of my family. It's dysfunctional in her family, where they all speak in well-modulated tones to each other.
And on that note of tapping throughout, because there have been some comments coming up about verb in the chat room about verbal abuse. So even as you're telling that story, that may be triggering some folks. So,
oh yeah,
you know, that's one of the reasons I always tell people to tap throughout a workshop or a session, because when I'm working with someone else, there's no telling how someone else might be triggered.
Oh yeah.
Or just talking about a subject.
Well, I trigger people just by, you know, by being who I am. And I always tell people in the US, when I present over there, look, we're descended from convicts, you know, as some of us are. David Lake always used to remind people that his family were free settlers, you know, whereas mine, they got kicked out of England for being naughty, and the naughtiness has gone down the line. So, you know, no doubt I'm going to get in trouble at some point.
Yeah, and that's that DNA. Yes. You know that tapping helps with gene expression, so you're not controlled by your genes anymore.
You're right. Yes.
So you gotta let go of that excuse. A question did come up from some folks about saying things out loud.
Yeah.
So one of the premises in the tapping is that as you say things out loud, especially if you say it emphatically, we tend to be more emotionally engaged. And the more emotionally engaged we are, the more we have to work with while we're doing the tapping. Again, tapping silently can be extremely beneficial. However, it can also be very beneficial to say things out loud just so that we are really engaged with what's going on. So I always tell people, I'm not big on rules about tapping. I always say experiment. If you feel like, hey, I want to try doing it this way, then by all means try it and find out, because again, there's no one right way that works for everybody. So as you go through, you might say, oh, okay, let me experiment with this and with that. It's like, oh, this works better for me.
Yeah.
It's like with the hands thing. People always say, which hands do you use? Because in my videos, I almost always do it with the right hand, because I'm a trained actor and doing this is not good for video. So, you're not supposed to cover your face up. So, but I switch back and forth. I often tap with both hands at the same time. So I always tell people, hey, you know, you find out, because you may tap like this and say, yeah, this just feels awkward. This feels wrong. Find out.
We're going to give people a lot of options, and we're going to show people a lot of different ways, even just as we, you know, today is just a kind of taster, and hopefully also there's enough here for people to take away some good stuff. And sometimes the biggest thing you need is the opportunity to do it. You know, if you take the time out and do it, and sometimes you just need the reminder to do it. I couldn't tell you the amount of people that I've worked with, and they're like, oh, I need to see you because I've got this other issue. I'm like, well, did you do any tapping on that? No. You know, we run programs all over the world with people who are practitioners who do tapping all the time, and they come out to volunteer to work in front of the group. Have you done any tapping on this? Oh, no. You know, just for some reason, I never thought about it. And that's because we can all get hooked. We can all get, you know, emotionally under the weather.
And we brilliantly sabotage ourselves. For when folks say, oh, you know what, I've forgot that I should tap. Yes, you're brilliantly protecting yourself, because some part of you says, if I tap on this, I'm going to say, you know, just using this tapping into yes, part of you might say, well, I should tap on these on this resistance that I have, but then I, you know, forget about it. I don't do the tapping, because part of my brain is saying, oh yeah, we're not going to remind you to tap, because if you tap, you're going to clear the no, you're going to say yes, and change is going to happen. And we don't want to deal with change. So yeah, forget about tapping.
Yeah. And
It's
your
a
mind
brilliant
is such an
self-sabotage.
incredible instrument that can project all kinds of negative possibilities, most of which will never happen. You know, one of my favorite quotes is Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
He says, I'm an old man, I've known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened. Right. So, you know, we really, we are capable of thinking of things as so real that we can experience them as if they're actually happening. And, you know, when it is helpful to be able to think about the things that can go wrong, but not to go live there and feel it as if it's really happening to you. So with the tapping, you can actually separate the image or the future possibility from, you know, being real, and you can change the perspective with it as well. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're expecting to do in our workshops. Probably be a good time to talk about that, since we only have about 7-8 minutes left here today. And obviously we'd love for people to come along. And you know, we're going to be getting together in the US in South San Francisco and North New Jersey in April.
New York adjacent.
New York adjacent.
in order to make it more affordable for folks, we're outside of Manhattan, because we'd have to charge twice as much to
Hey,
do
look,
this.
we're running this program at a rate that normally, one of us would charge for both of us. And so the only way we can do that is by number one, getting enough of you to come along, and number two, having it in places that's affordable for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the aim.
And so where we are, I'm gonna have some fun here. Where so the events that we've got coming up are first in San Francisco.
Oh, beautiful.
Right outside. So we will be right near the San Francisco airport to make it really convenient, because obviously there are a lot of folks in the Bay Area, but for a weekend workshop, a lot of folks might be traveling. So we're doing East and West Coast of the U.S. in April, May, East and West Coast of Australia in November. So yeah, we'll be in San Francisco, Newark, New Jersey, which is, as I said, New York adjacent. You can almost see New York. And then we'll be in beautiful Sydney. And, hopefully we'll be able to, by November, we'll be able to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Sending healing energy for all of you down there.
Yeah.
As we said it earlier on. And then we'll be in, that's Perth.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks a little different these days than it did. There's been a lot of development in Perth in recent times. But anyway, looking forward to showing you around when you come over here.
I'm very excited. I have never been to the west coast of Australia. I've been up and down the east coast. So that information is on both of our websites, EFT Down Under, tftdownunder.com.au or just .com?
.com or .com.au. They can get to that from either. And if they just go to the events tab on EFTdownunder.com, then you'll see both the US workshops as well as the workshops in Australia. And your site is?
tapwithbrad.com. And you can find the events thing, or you can just go to tapwithbrad.com/events. And that'll take you to my page. And again, all the information is there on these 4 different locations. And we have a super early bird discount right now till the end of this month. Right?
End of this month. And as I say, it's the lowest rate for a workshop I've ever seen for 2 international presenters. I don't want to, and not only that, it'll be massive value. You'll get to spend time with 2 crazy, fun guys.
It's going to be fun. I mean, it's sort of I think it's sort of a given that we're the 2 most humorous people in EFT. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but, and I tap for them.
Okay.
But,
tapping on that statement. But anyway, fair enough.
But yeah, so it'll be a powerful weekend, clearing out all that stuff that's going on inside that says no to having the best life possible, all that stuff that says no to being the best person you can be. You deserve a great life, and there's just old programming, old misunderstandings from the past, and we are here to help you clear that crap out so that you can really say yes to your best life.
Yeah. And I want to say something about values, because the values are a big part of what I do. And quite often, as came up with Christine, the issue is that there's parts of us that are pulling in different directions. And, true success is really getting aligned with what I believe are your true values. Now, sometimes we've inherited other people's values and we become hooked to things that aren't really good for us at all. And they're getting in the way of us being able to live our true core values. So we're going to do some tapping and releasing on that. We're going to be, you have an incredible process, which is basically, kind of the chipping away to get to the masterpiece underneath or within. And I think we'll have some fun using our different approaches to tapping, I'll be using the simple energy techniques. I'll be teaching people the intention tapping, which, just sort of tiny bit off here. And yeah, I think it'll be a really great time.
Don't miss it.
So yeah, we'd love to see you all there. Obviously, we'll put the links out in Facebook, and we'll also send them out with this recording to all of you. And they'll be, if this is on YouTube, they'll be underneath the video. You can, while you can, get in on the super early bird. Then there'll be an early bird, and then there'll be the full fee. And yeah, don't leave
If
it
there's
till
still
last
seats
minute.
available, because we're not doing. This is also not going to be a huge venue, with hundreds and hundreds of people. So it'll be a more intimate venue. So, yeah.
Well, but you won't be there with 10 people. Relax. You won't be the only one.
Right.
We already have people. There will be people there.
Yes. No, there are.
Yes. All right. Well, I see, as they say in the clinical field, that our time is up for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Apologies for a couple of technological glitches, but you know what? Perfection is the enemy of achievement, and it's the enemy of going forward. And the key is to go forward with what you have and give what you've got in the best way that you can now, and then you'll do it better next time. Yeah.
Yep. Please and thank you. Don't wait for perfection to share your gifts with the world.
Yeah.
That's why we do this work, is because you have gifts to share with the world. You have a difference that only you can make. And we want to clear out that stuff that's stopping you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Brad. It's been fun. And yeah, everybody,
As always.
keep in touch. We'll obviously be in touch through the Facebook group, and we're sending this out to to the people who weren't able to be here live. And I just want to also mention for the people in the bushfires and for everybody else, if you want to help, the first way that you can help is that you can start to do some tapping for yourself. The second way is to actually contribute to the organizations. What they're saying right now is that we don't need you to send toys and things and whatever. Thoughts and prayers we love, but we need money, we need cash. And so if you can send that stuff to the bushfire victims, that will be very, very appreciated. All right.
Indeed.
And we'll see you in San Francisco, New York, Sydney, or Perth.
Indeed.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
You have a great night or day.
Bye-bye.